Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Tales Untold. I'm Wyatt.
I'm Erica.
And today we will be talking about exorcisms and how to get rid of apparitions.
Yeah.
Or spirits or ghosts.
Yeah.
I feel like apparitions is the wrong word to use for that.
For this one.
Yeah.
Even though it took us so long to get to apparition. Yes, and this one's kind of exciting because there's so many movies, there's so many instances that are famous because of this. Like there's the Exorcist movie.
It's freaked me out for a long time. Refused to watch it.
Or actually, I guess movies at this point.
Oh, I forgot there was multiple.
In that movie, I don't remember. I haven't watched it in a long time. Was it a girl that was possessed?
Yeah, it was.
That's so weird because I was actually reading about this that it was actually a boy. Like the movie that the events that led to this movie and the book. It was actually a boy that it was based off.
Are you sure it was based off of a book or a movie?
No, like it's based off of a real exorcism.
Really?
Yes.
Like The Exorcist. Like,
from 1949, I think it was. It's actually based off of a real exorcism, but it was of a little boy, not a girl. And I thought that was interesting as I was reading about it.
And it apparently happened in Maryland. I said it wrong, still didn't.
Maryland.
Ronald Doe?
Yeah. So it was based off of a real thing, but it was actually a little boy, not a girl.
I wonder
why.
Know that.
I wonder why they changed it.
Maybe to respect what happened.
I don't know. I don't really know exactly what happened with the exorcism of that little boy, and like the end result and all that. But
the stair scene in The Exorcist was very creepy.
yes, yes.
I really hate that movie because it's so freaky.
I don't know. The part that always comes to mind when someone says that is the projectile vomiting part.
Pea soup.
That's gross.
What comes to my mind is like when she's on the bed and her head
swivels around.
I hate that.
No, the vomiting is what got me. It's gross. Ugh.
I've seen way grosser stuff in movies.
Definitely. And I wonder how much of that is actually based off of the events. Like, I doubt that the kid actually projectile vomited like that in real life. I know that it's possible to.
I don't really understand the projectile vomiting. Like, I've never seen it. I've never done it. Like, what is it?
It's when it comes up so ferociously that it just it gets far.
Ugh.
I don't think it's as exaggerated as that movie claims.
Probably not.
But it's definitely gross.
I also really hate the design. Like, it's so creepy to me.
The design?
Of the girl. Like, her face.
Oh,
yeah.
The way that they made her look demonic. I don't think that actually happens either in real life. A lot of the famous exorcisms that I was reading about, a lot of them end in death of the person. There was actually one where the priests were convicted of it wasn't involuntary manslaughter. It was something like it was manslaughter. They were convicted of manslaughter because this person died of malnourishment. She was not the same exorcism. It was a different one. Actually, I think it might have been that Polish one that we were talking about, Annalise.
Oh.
The exorcism of her. She was 68 pounds when she died.
Wow.
So she died of malnourishment because of what they were doing to her.
That's crazy.
So
that's really sad.
It definitely is. So I wonder how many of these exorcisms over the centuries have actually been due to people with mental issues or disabilities. You know, like Tourette's. Imagine that. Imagine how somebody would be treated.
Yeah.
By that, like they would think that they were possessed because suddenly they're having a reaction. You know. Like that's so terrible. Like
It is.
I find it interesting that religions, they kind of deal with them the same way. They recite their scriptures. They start dousing them in holy water from their various beliefs. So a lot of these things are the same or similar. So I wonder, I mean, we went into the exorcist part, but my main intent was to discuss how to remove a ghost or apparition or entity from a space.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a person. A lot of these things come down to opening windows, getting fresh air, burning sage.
Yes. I have burned sage
for removing your Ouija board incident. A lot of these things that are believed to have positive energy, goodwill, thoughts, things like that. But all of these boil down to asking this energy to leave. All of these religions, all of these beliefs, that stems from simply asking this thing to leave or demanding it to leave. What if that is the reason that it goes away? Not because of your belief system, not because of your religious beliefs, not because of your words of God that were spoken.
I kind of see what you're saying, but I feel like it's more of like spirits. Like if you tell them you cannot, like you can't follow me home, you are not allowed in, they simply just cannot. Right. So like if you tell it to leave, I feel like, and I don't think it's really asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you're not giving it permission. You're not.
Yeah.
But it comes back to our theme. What you expect is what you're going to get. You put out good energy, you're going to receive good energy. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder if that's really what these things boil down to, is that you're stating that this isn't going to happen the way that, like, other than I want it to. Like, you're going to stop moving my things. You're going to stop slamming doors in my house. And then these things stop.
And then I feel like that actually just reminded me of something else. You remember how we talked about poltergeists? Mm-hmm. Like if you tell that to stop, it'll stop, but then it'll start up again because it's in a manipulative spirit. Mm-hmm. So there's always something like that happening.
Right. So, I mean, I wonder if just simply putting out the energy that you want will get you what you want.
So, like if you ask, you receive.
Yes.
That kind of saying.
Right. And so if you're acting negatively towards it, if you're reacting every time something moves and you're giving it the energy it was looking for.
Yeah.
Right? So you're sort of creating the problem for yourself. I mean, that sounds terrible. And then also, you know, there's the thought with ghost hunters and stuff that you ask these ghosts all kinds of questions. You ask them to slam something. You ask them to knock 3 times.
If you're there,
give us a sign, and then you receive those signs. So why can't it work the other way? Why can't it work in the way, like, stop slamming things? Stop showing up. Stop scaring me. Get out of my house. You don't belong here.
I never thought of it that way.
Like, yeah. So, I mean, you're asking it to do positive things. Why can't you ask it to leave you alone? So, my idea is that the religion you use to exorcise something doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the act of not allowing something to do it any longer is what matters.
That's interesting.
It's a strange concept.
Yeah.
It might be difficult for some people to digest.
Definitely for me, I feel like I have a hard time, like, breaking down information that you say a lot.
I definitely have a different perspective than most people.
I feel like you also use, like, stranger words.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I enjoy not being like everybody else. Oh, and there's this show called Evil on Netflix, right? So this is kind of what gave me this idea about it doesn't matter what religion you use. So this is a show where it's heavy in Christianity and believing that demons are real and those sorts of things. And it's kind of mind-bending with the things that are happening. But there is an episode where somebody is actually possessed by a demon, right? So this family is of two religions. I think the wife is maybe Buddhist or Islamic or something like that. I don't remember. But she's a different religion from Christianity, right?
Right.
So both parents go their separate ways to try to resolve this exorcism. So now you have two different religions colliding, trying to remove this entity at the same time. So they both show up at the same time in the same place, and everybody's looking at each other, well, what do we do? Because both sides believe that their side is going to work.
What I also don't understand is, like, there were so many different religions in the world, but they all kind of are the same thing.
Right. When you go down to their roots, they all believe in the same thing. Like, oh, you need to do good things to receive good things. You need to, be a good neighbor. Don't hurt people. Like, all of these things kind of boil down to the same ideas.
Yeah.
So why can't it be that simply asking a ghost to leave is the solution?
Right.
And then, so also in that respect, can you just invite something in?
I think you can do it unknowingly.
Right.
Like, I know I forget what movie it is, but, like, someone opens their door when there's a knock and there's nobody there. Spirits in the house.
Right.
That's you inviting them in.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
I think it can definitely work both ways.
But again, if it was that simple to allow this thing in, can't it be just as simple to remove it? Where you just say, you're no longer welcome here, get out.
Probably. I don't see why not.
I mean, I'm sure there's instances where it could fight you and not want to. But it being energy, if you give it the energy, like, no, you don't belong here, it would follow that. You know what I'm saying? Like, does it have enough thought to fight you?
No.
I hope not. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a difficult subject. I've never come across someone that was possessed, thankfully. I mean, I don't even think I've ever heard of anything happening recently like that. That's not something you really find in the news.
That's also another thing. Why did all of this stuff happen back then? Project Blue Book, for example, like aliens. All of that stuff happened back then. Not a lot of it happens now. Exorcisms, not a lot of it happens now. Or at least that we hear of.
Right. I mean, the alien thing is a whole other
topic.
That's a whole other ball game. But with the paranormal and ghosts and apparitions and things, I think a lot of it does come down to misinterpreted mental illness. So, like we talked about, somebody with Tourette's, or somebody with autism or Down syndrome. Like, if they have negative behaviors where things trigger them and they start lashing out, think of these communities that are so heavily religious. They're gonna immediately think that this is a demonic possession. They're gonna and then they're going to try to exorcise it, when in reality, it's just the way that this person is. It's not negative energy. It's not a demon. It's not a possession. It's just the way that their brain is. It's terrible to think of how many people were essentially tortured because they had a mental illness that was misinterpreted.
But do we actually think that happened?
Absolutely. I definitely do. Like, look at the witch trials.
That's true.
They set people on fire because they liked their home clean. They took baths because they didn't believe in the things that they believed in.
And because they use, like, herbs as medicine.
As medicine. And they because they grew gardens, because they took care of nature. They believed that the earth could provide what we needed. Or simply because they had moles. Like, what? So look at that. They took advantage of religion to torture people like that.
Yeah.
People just because they were different. Thinking that one was better than the other. So it's a hard road. For sure. So I guess in order to try to remove a ghost, you or entity or demon or whatever you wish to call it, you would first have to, acknowledge its existence.
Right.
Like, it would have to escalate to a point where you can no longer live your life normally.
Mm.
And then decide which route you want to take. I mean, like, do you want to burn sage every day for the rest of your life? Do you want to,
no.
Right? Do you want to just simply ignore these things that are happening? Like your cabinet's open and you're just like, oh, cool. And you shut it. Like, like, are you just going to...
Like, do you think it would eventually stop?
I think, just like most things, if you don't feed into it, it dissipates. Like, it eventually goes away. I mean, of course, there are things where this doesn't work. There are absolutely things where if you ignore them, they just get worse.
Which is another scary thought.
Yes. But in these types of instances, I really think that not giving it what it wants in the long run can help you. Like, it's definitely scary.
For sure.
I would think, like things moving around without anybody touching them. Like, that's frightening. But I don't know. And trying to find the correct help. Like, sure, you could try and find a paranormal investigator.
Yeah. But I honestly don't feel like there is many around anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
really hear about them anymore. And, like, I feel like TAPS is too big of a thing to do small little things.
I don't know. I think that they would, just because I've watched the show since the beginning. Like, I know how they are. I think they would want to. I think they would want to know. I think they would want to help. And they've investigated so many places at this point where, I mean, why not?
Yeah.
But they're investigators. They're not paranormal exterminators.
No.
So, I mean...
They're like the people to
verify that that's what's here. So.
And then they probably give you solutions.
Yeah.
Or things that might help fix it.
Yeah, I mean... Oof. Yeah, so if you're calling a paranormal investigator, you kind of already know that there's something there. Right? Because
you have a feeling. Right,
because you're not gonna call an investigator to investigate when you don't think that there's something happening. That doesn't make sense. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. So I mean, and sometimes you could even know, like, have an idea of who could be hanging around your house too. Like, that your grandpa died here 2 years ago, right? And you believe that he's hanging around. But you wouldn't want to, would you want to exorcise that person?
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
if it was someone I knew, no.
Right. Like, but at what point would you be like, all right, Grandpa, I love you. I know you're still here. I know you care, but like, you don't need to be attached to me. You know, like,
yeah.
Like I enjoy knowing that you're here, but I also want you to go on and live another life or move on to whichever path that may be. You know what I'm saying? Like I wouldn't want someone I loved to just be hanging around because they care about me.
Right.
Like if anything, they're just stressing themselves out. Like they can't actually do anything to help me, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's only so much that an energy ball could do for me. So like it would be nice that someone was there like that, but I would also want them to do good by themselves too. Like,
yeah.
You know, to carry on. Also, you could, it says you could sprinkle salt in your home near the doors, windows, corners of the rooms.
That's in a lot of the movies, like a circle of salt to ward away evil spirits. And I'm pretty sure Epsom salt is used for something, but I'm not entirely sure what.
Is it Epsom salt? I never knew that Epsom salt was used. I mean, I guess it's still salt, but I wonder if there's something
that it does
more potent about it.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be very strange to have salt all over the place. Walking would be very uncomfortable. I don't think salt, like a ring of salt around your house, would stay for very long. Because once you get weather, animals,
yeah,
like it probably wouldn't do very good things for your grass and stuff either.
No.
So I guess it depends on your situation. So I guess in the end, let's just hope you don't have to ever do an exorcism to your home or anyone else.
Hopefully not.
Put out the good energy and the bad will leave you alone.
Yes.
We'll start there. Positive thoughts. Well, I think that's probably going to do it for removing a ghost.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about or exorcisms.
No, we're not experts.
Not at all. Not the slightest.
So, I'm Erica.
And I'm Wyatt.
Thanks for listening. This is
Tales Untold.